going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Roster Bubble Series video. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Turn on post notifications so you know when a live stream pops or drops. Appreciate y'all coming back. It's another Roster Bubble Series video, so sharing it out would do wonders. And, of course, it is a dead time in the NFL offseason, so sharing this out to different communities across social media, different fan bases, anyone helps the channel, and we reach milestones faster. It's a beneficial relationship between me and you guys. I would appreciate it. And let's get this video started. So another Roster Bubble Series video. In these types of videos, I take a player that's on the roster bubble. I talk about their background, competition, how they could win, and how they could lose a roster spot, followed up by a prediction at the end. So, with that being said, CJ Board is our next candidate, and a lot of Giant fans are familiar with him. A guy who's on the roster bubble with this new regime. With that being said, some background on him. He was an undrafted free agent in 2017, spent some time with the Ravens and the Titans, and also the Browns. Then he was cut by the Browns in 2018 after the preseason. I don't know if you guys remember, but when we played the Browns in 2018, we scored our only touchdown off of his error, which was CJ Board dropped the punt. He muffed it. And I believe it was Riley Dixon or Zach Diossi that picked it up. And then we went in for a score, Jalen Simmons touchdown. So there's that. For 2018, though, he went to the Jaguars practice squad, signed a reserves futures contract, then was waived by the Jaguars in 2019, re-signed to the practice squad, and he was actually promoted to the active roster. Then he was cut on August 12th, and then the New York Giants claimed him off waivers, and he was with the team for 2020, 2021. He was with the team again. He was cut, re-signed the practice squad, then signed to the active roster with all the injuries going on to the wide receivers, and then he fractured his forearm against the Los Angeles Rams, where everybody was going down, and he was placed on injured reserve for the rest of the year, and the New York Giants re-signed him. Some stats on him real quickly as we get into it. Take a look at his receiving stats. With Jacksonville in 2019, he had 2 receptions for 31 yards, 1 first down. With the Giants in 2020, in 4 games started, he played 14 games total, 11 receptions, 101 yards, no touchdowns, but 6 first downs. And then with the Giants in 2021, played a total of 6 games, 1 started, 4 receptions, 51 yards, 3 first downs. One of those first downs, of course, was the thing that opened the game, or I should say what started one of the drives that went downfield, was against the Atlanta Falcons, and that was a deep ball. A lot of people were like, well, Kenny Galladay should have caught that, and I'm like, yeah, I kind of agree with that. So a little background on him, of course, in terms of kicking and punting, in terms of returns like that, and we just mentioned, of course, a few seconds ago that he made that error on special teams on the punt return against Giants in the preseason in 2018 with the Browns. He does have the ability and skill set to be on special teams, but in 2020, he returned a punt for 6 yards. He returned 2 kicks for 54 yards, 27 per return in terms of the kick returning game. Then in 2021, he returned 2 punts for 33 yards, about 16 per punt. He also had his longest return in terms of punts was 26 yards. And then in terms of kick returns, returned 11 kicks for 273 yards. His longest return was a 38-yard return. And about 24.8 yards per return in the kick returning game. And then in terms of snap counts, about 13% with the Jags offense, 7% on their special teams. 2020 with the Giants, about 19% on their offense and 23% on special teams. Then in 2021, 20% on the offense and 51% on special teams. So you can see where his value is there. In terms of his competition, Keelan Doss, Travis Toivonen, Alex Bachman, Robert Foster, Richie James, Colin Johnson, Austin Prale, and David Sills. How he can win one of the spots on the roster. Show some skill on 4th down and avoid dropping passes with the 2s and 3s. I don't know how many of the receivers are going to be playing in the preseason. And that's big because if Galladay doesn't play because he is I would say, a more favored wide receiver in this situation because of contract and stuff like that, and he doesn't play, if Kadarius Toney doesn't play, if Sterling Shepard isn't ready yet, then guys alongside Wan'Dale Robinson, like David Sills and CJ Board, will be playing with the first team. So Board has to really maximize on that opportunity. I know in one of the training camp practices, because those guys were injured, Board, Sills, and Richie James were a part of the first team. So I don't know if it's based on favorability, the fact that Slayton was with the second team, I don't know. But with that being said, he has to show some skill on fourth down, especially in the kick returning and punt returning game, and avoid dropping passes with the 2s and 3s. And Richie James Jr. is proficient on special teams. So with that being said, the fact that he's a quicker receiver and he offers that special team skill set, CJ Boyd's going to have to do something about that. Anyway, how he can lose, has a quiet camp, doesn't stand out from the other wide receivers, doesn't do well on special teams and on fourth down in general. That's basically it. I know it's basic. I say that every time. But for Board to try to make a spot as a 4th, 5th, 6th receiver, it's got to be special teams, and it's got to be something worth keeping on the roster in terms of the receiving game, because a lot of the receptions, it's mostly 50-50 balls. Also, receptions over the middle, too, just to add. But there's lots of guys on this roster and who are competing that can do that. David Sills is a 50-50 guy. Tavoynen's a 50-50 guy. Colin Johnson is a 50-50 guy. Richie James can probably catch passes over the middle. There's a couple of tall wide receivers too. So he's got to make a name for himself, and he's got to make a difference rather than just being quiet and staying, alongside the other quiet receivers and not making the roster. But overall, I don't have him making the roster. So that's it for this video. Peace out, guys. See you later. Stay cool.